You mentioned that kind of transition, Adam, is the lift scene where you physically change when you're switching, when you're going. Is it down or up in the lift?
Either way.
It's either way.
Either way you go.
I mean, I was watching it, I was thinking that's not special effects or anything. You just physically change. Would you be able to teach Richie and I how to do the switch? Because it's an amazing thing.
It's a 3-week course. Oh. I offer it at the Learning Annex in the United States.
Adam Scott, Tramell Tillman, Severance. Great to have you guys on the show. 2 excellent seasons of Severance right now on Apple TV+. It's blown us away. It's unlike anything we've seen on TV before. It's a little bit like part science fiction, part Orwellian, part The Office. But you know the thing that kind of it reminds me of the most? I don't know whether you'll agree with this or not, but the 90s video game, The Sims.
Interesting. Yeah, I've heard that a couple times.
And even the opening sequence and the animated opening sequence and so on with the angle and the way you got this kind of like this higher being controlling you and you don't know what's going on. It reminds me of playing The Sims when I was a kid.
Yes, I have heard that before, but I wasn't a Sims player, so I don't totally connect with why it feels that way. Do you?
Tramell, you got any idea of The Sims?
I do remember a little bit of it. Yeah. You're manufacturing your own world and watching it unfold. But for whatever reason, I immediately go to like the Tamagotchi toys.
Oh yeah,
I don't know why when I think of that.
There's a bit of Tamagotchi in there as well, I guess, with Severance in terms of you're again being controlled by a higher power and you're unaware of what exactly is going on.
Gotta feed the pet.
Yeah, with the little buttons. Because you have to remember to feed it.
Right.
Do you not think there's a certain irony? Because here we are talking with you guys, raving about now 2 complete seasons of Severance, but there's a certain irony that with binge-worthy shows like Severance on a streaming platform, it would be really handy to have that Severance programme to then get around spoilers when you are raving about it to people who are yet to come to the journey. There's a certain irony in that.
If only.
If only. The show is about, it's all about work-life balance, we just alluded to. Has it made you guys reassess your own kind of work-life balance for being part of the show?
It does make me think how much time I spend on work. But, I love what I do, and I love that I get to go in every day and work with these beautiful people and this incredible crew. And so I don't really want to stop that, But I do understand that it is important to be able to turn it off.
I watched an interview with you, Tramell. You said you were part of like corporate America for a little bit, so you've done those kind of jobs. So were you like throwing yourself into work when you were in a kind of before you got into acting and so on?
Oh well, I mean, it was a means to an end. I got to pay the bills, and I didn't want to be that starving artist, fresh out of grad school and going into New York. So there was a time I had 4 different jobs, man.
Oh wow!
So it was it was crazy, but that's the hustle, being in New York as an actor.
Yeah. And you've had your time as an innie and an outie in that kind of respect, haven't you? Speaking directly to people that might not have seen the show and hear terms like innies and outies and are kind of thinking, what's this all about? How would you describe the show to somebody who's in that situation? Because it's about a lot more than a shifty company called Lumen.
Yeah, I mean, the basic premise is that the show takes place in a world where there's a technology available where you can get a chip inserted in your brain where when you go to work, you pass the threshold of your office and you suddenly have no idea who you are in the outside world or what you do in the outside world. And then when you leave work and cross that threshold at the end of the day, you have no idea who you were or what you were doing at work. So your life is bifurcated into these 2 separate realities. So it's essentially 2 separate people or personalities for all intents and purposes.
You mentioned that kind of transition, Adam, is the lift scene where you physically change when you're switching, when you're going. Is it down or up in the lift?
Either way.
It's either way.
Either way you go.
I mean, I was watching it, I was thinking that's not special effects or anything. You just physically change. Would you be able to teach Richie and I how to do the switch? Because it's an amazing thing.
It's a 3-week course. I offer it at the Learning Annex in the United States. It was really fun figuring it out because in season 1 we knew we had to shoot the thing in the elevator and had to figure out how to do it. And so Ben Stiller, who directs a lot of the episodes, had to figure out technically how to do it with the cameras with Jessica Lee Gagne, our director of photography as well. They had to figure that part of it out. And then since I was the first one to do it, I had to kind of figure out acting wise what you do. So Ben kept this like little mini elevator set off to the side of whatever we were shooting. When we had time, we would go and just do reps and just run through it, trying to figure out, because
Elevator
it could be
practice.
really corny. Yeah. So we had to practice and figure out how to do it, and finally settled on what you see in the show.
But what is the key to it? Is there like a trick that you do that?
For me, it's just doing a quick math problem and trying to take life experience away or put it back in, and what that would do to you physically. That's sort of the quick way to try and do it.
Okay, so if you're forced to do mental arithmetic, working out a bill, split of the bill if you're in a restaurant, it's that kind of horror of maths, isn't it?
Yes, but not actual math, because I'm an actor and I can't do that.
Fair enough.
We know the elevators have got code detecting powers. If in reality you were able to give elevators another power that could happen in the journey of just moving between a few floors. Say, for example, you could get into an elevator, arrive 2 floors later, you feel refreshed, you've had a shower, that kind of thing. What other power would you give an elevator to have aside from code detecting in Severance?
Great question.
It is a great question. I would say like a massage.
Like that?
Fantastic
Keep you
idea.
loose, right?
Yeah. Maybe so you get the effects of 8 hours of sleep when you go up a few floors.
That's
Yeah,
good. Yeah,
nice.
it's like a
Like
nice
that.
injection.
Have a little nap.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you think like the theme of Severance has really connected with people and it's made it so popular because it taps into a bit of a shared experience that we've all had where work is a bit bewildering because of lockdown and since lockdown?
Yeah, I think we spend a lot of time working. You just spoke about, work-life balance. And this show really hinges on what it looks like or what it doesn't look like when you have that kind of balance. So I think because of the characters and because of the beautiful writing and the cinematography, I think it really pulls people in to really dive in on what our priorities are.
Right.
I always go back to that moment that Milchick has with Mark, where there's that challenge of, this is just a job, right?
Right.
You know?
I mean, there's been a shift where you would audition, I guess, on tape rather than actually going into a room. Has that been a bit of a shift in your industry? This is kind of maybe a bit of something that's come out of lockdown or COVID, etc. Is that you're not physically going into a room to audition, you're sending in, doing a lot of tapes and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of self-tapes.
Yeah.
And I don't do well on self-tapes.
Do you prefer doing it in person?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. Because there's a lot more communication. You get the energy vibes. I think I do better in person than on self-tapes, honestly.
Yeah.
We are about to take on a 200-mile bike ride for charity.
Oh,
Wow.
wonderful.
If we went on that, but like our innies did it, would our outies feel the pain of a 200-mile bike ride?
Either you would feel the pain or you would feel the benefits, maybe, of a 200-mile bike ride. I mean, I guess you would feel both. Yes, you would physically, you would feel the effects of it, whether positive or negative, but you wouldn't have to actually experience the bike ride itself.
Now, is that Mark explaining that to me, or is that Adam the cyclist
You will
explaining it?
never know.
You never know. Tramell, your character Milchick is absolutely incredible. I'm not sure if you ever watched a UK comedy show called Peep Show. You ever heard of Peep Show? But I feel like you channel Johnson, played by Patterson Joseph, in that. He's kind of like workplace intimidating and intense, but also playful as well. Where did you draw inspiration from for your character? Because he's incredible.
Honestly,
Yeah.
a lot of experiences from my corporate jobs.
Oh, really? Going back to the corporate thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a wild ride, and a lot of it were coworkers and employers, and just working with all these different colors of people. And that really helped to fuel and build Milchick.
Yeah. He's an incredible character.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You've
Agreed.
had Emmy nominations for your portrayal of Mark, but you're also described as a die-hard REM fan.
Yes.
And you appeared as an extra in Drive.
Yes.
Which ranks higher?
Well, I appeared...
You're having to think about it,
No,
so
no,
it's
no.
obviously a tough question.
I appeared as a background actor in Drive in 1992 when I was 19, I guess. So I've been able to kind of absorb that and get over it in
taken
in
a while.
a way. So the kind of nomination is a little fresher in my mind. So that would have, but I will say it was a big deal. But the thing is, I had never been able to find myself in the video until like 2019, 2018, when we mentioned it on a podcast and someone found me in it. I finally found myself in that crowd of people. So for a long time, I couldn't even prove I was there, but now I can.
We know that Tim Cook is a fan, obviously, because he's just announced season 3 already. A big question would be, how long do you think we're going to have to wait for that?
It took 3 years between seasons 1 and 2. It will not take that long.
Good to know.
Yeah. The actor and writer strikes happened right when we were in the middle of shooting season 2, so we had to shut down for, it ended up being about 10 months till we could get back to it. So yeah, it won't take as long.
What about a Severance movie? Remember in like Star Trek, they used to have like a movie every so often?
Right.
The Wrath of Milchek. That'd be so good. Don't rule it out, guys.
That would be amazing.
Wouldn't it? Final thing then, if someone's not watched it yet, what can you promise people if they give it a try?
I guess we can promise that it will go places you aren't expecting. I think something at least I hear back from audience members and friends and family all the time is, I had no idea what was going to happen at any given moment. And I know as an audience member myself, for stuff that I like, that's where I'm happiest as an audience, is where I'm in a place where I do not know where this is going. Yeah. This isn't hitting a formula I've gone over in my head and experienced over and over again. No idea where this is going.
And to add to that, if you watch this show, you will be joining the coolest people on Earth.
Yeah, that's good.
It is. It's a cool click.
It is.
It is.
Well, speaking of cool people, when you leave this studio, you won't remember a word of the interview that's just taken place. But we really appreciate you guys coming in.
Well, likewise. Thanks for having us.
Just watch out getting in the lift. That's all we'll say.
Yeah. That's good point. Or maybe we'll take the stairs.